Chosen One!
Welcome to The Chosen One. I am your host, Qui-Gon Din, and today on Unit 101, we are covering the Terror from Below Squad Pack. This box just released today, and in celebration, I figured I'd go over some of my testing with this box. Been playing it for the past 2 weeks, and right off the bat, we can get up into Riff Tamson. He is an 8 squad point character, bringing us 2 points of force to work with. His active ability, Death from Below, is going to allow him to jump, and then when he makes a melee attack, this character gets to add 2 damage to the damage pool. It's very good. Allows him to spike extra damage, which is always solid during his turn. Hit and run. You can use this after his attack to... after he makes his combat action, he can bolt to another point. Keep in mind, this will conflict with Naserai's Riptide ability, so if you're giving him extra dice on his attack, he will not get the hit and run. But this can allow you to really just score Riff Tamson into a point, which is where you kind of want him doing. You want him being super flighty. Blood in the Water. This is going to be one of the main reasons why you're bringing him. After an allied separatist line supporting unit or an allied scoundrel supporting unit makes a combat action, this unit may use this ability. One character in this unit may jump, then make a 5-die melee attack into a targeting the same enemy characters within range and line of sight. This is free. This is going to give him free movement, the ability to get on 2 points. He does not have to move towards the enemy. He can just move anywhere. So unlike Cad Bane's, this one goes wherever you need it to. Then got his identity, which allows him when he's making a melee attack. He adds 1 die roll for each enemy unit within 4 that has 1 or more wounded or injured tokens. So he starts adding a lot of dice as the game goes on. This is very strong. And then additionally, when an enemy unit with range 4 becomes wounded, after the effect is resolved, you refresh the force. This really is going to start piling on the force refresh. After playing this a bunch, Riff will do a lot of wounds. And in the late game, he is a rock star. He's going to start hitting way extra hard. Even if he goes down, Blood in the Water costing 1 is going to be fine in the later game because you're going to be refreshing a ton of force. So we look at his trees, we got Cruelty, and then we got Savagery. Cruelty is going to be his range stance. He's only throwing 6 melee dice, but the melee expertise is very, very good with Jaws. So this is a side you're really wanting to make those 5-die attacks from Blood in the Water in, as it will also give you heals from your tree, which is going to be very important to keep him topped off because he is not the hardest to kill. You're going to want him beyond the side Cruelty as well for his defense because he only has 9 stamina, so the getting 1 for 1 on results is very much where you want to be. His range attack expertise is still also very solid with this, so he does have to do range 3. This is very much his utilitarian side as well as he's doing strains, jumps, shoves, heals. This is his workhorse side. This is where we notice where we end up keeping him most of the time. Savagery, if we really need to go for the kill, we can go for Savagery here. A lot of the times we're thinking we start in Savagery at the start of the game because then we can get in, do Death from Below, do the ton of damage. It'll do 6 damage on 2, which is absolutely insane. And then we will switch him to Cruelty and we keep him in Cruelty the rest of the game. He does not leave the stance once he goes into the stance. It's just too easy to kill him otherwise. And Riff Tamson is a character that you just want to be utilizing that awesome 1 gets you 2 hits, 2 to 3 gets you 3 hits, and then 4 gets you 2 crits, 2 hits. That off of the the blood and the water attacks when stuff's already down because it adds to that 5 die attack, making it 6 or 7. That expertise is really solid. Getting into Naserai, this is the weak point of the box in terms of activation. So Naserai is a 3-point character. He's bringing us 0 force. He brings us a tactic scatter at the start of this unit's activation. Character in this unit, or a Separatist Alliance or Scoundrel unit, one character in a chosen unit may dash. If the chosen unit has 1 or more damage on them, they get a full reposition instead. This is going to be one of the strongest parts of this card. This and Riptide. So Riptide is basically Stormtrooper Sergeant, but it's for Separatist Alliance characters, and it's looking for aquatic tag. So when a character in this unit or an allied Separatist Alliance character makes an attack as part of a combat action before dice are rolled, this unit may use this ability. Add 1 die to the attack for each allied aquatic unit other than the attacking unit that is within range 5 and line of sight of the target. This is going to, on average, give you 2 dice on a lot of your regular droid attacks, or say Grievous, because you're not putting Naserai in the front lines. Opportunistic Usurper, this is his innate. Basically, when he's in the deck or in reserve, you can't shoot him. And then he has Obi-Wan's trick where if you have a card in your order card, you can flop them in the order spot, which means you can put the card that was in your reserve on top or bottom. This is going to be key for keeping him alive, because when we look at his stat line, he's got 4 range defense, and then 1 to 2 gets you a block, 3 plus is a block reposition, and then 4 plus gets you 2 blocks. He is going to melt with that 7 health. You do not want him going down. You're going to reserve him until you can activate him at a safe time to where you can do something with this tactic. You generally move and hunker him onto points. You do not try to fight with Naserai. Unless you can get the 3 down the street to get that reposition to get him out of harm's way, which is basically only against clones or whatnot. And that's with his Riptide. He's not consistent enough to warrant, in my opinion, risking him trying to get into combat. He's a back point sitter like Stormtrooper Sergeant. You're gonna keep him on the back point, make it harder for your opponent to get to him. If your opponent wants to wound him, they're gonna have to get melee. So you want him being in that safe spot as long as possible. On to, in my opinion, the best unit in the box. So I think the Aqua Droids do more for Separatists than any other unit in this box. I think Riff Tamson himself is very solid, but what Aqua Droids are doing, so right off the bat, you're going to notice they don't look like a 5-point character based off their stat line. After playing these guys are rock stars. They are a pain to deal with on the field. They're hard to kill. They have very solid expertise. And they just do a lot of work. So right off the bat, we get calculated advance. Each character in this unit, you pay a force. Each character in the unit may dash. Then the unit immediately makes a focus action. This is good because they get impact 1. But even shooting with these guys are real good. And then if they have submerge when you reveal this unit's order card. If another aquatic unit is in reserve, you can put these guys into the reserve slot and put the other target on top or bottom of the deck. This can be good if you flip up Naserai in reserve and you want to put these guys in reserve. This becomes free. So you can put Naserai at the bottom of the deck, have these guys ready to go when Riff Tamson is in position or whatnot, or save these guys when you really need them. Augmented power servos, they get the impact 1. This is going to be good with their focus. Enhanced blast armor, they get protection. Just built-in protection is really solid. Sonar detection. When a character in this unit makes a ranged attack, the target of the attack reduces its cover value by 1 to a minimum of 0. This is penetration into hunker. Because hunkers give cover, this kind of nullifies that advantage. And this is very, very good at hitting hard. Their offensive expertise off of their range attack is not that great, but they're still throwing 8 dice with the focus. So they can just really force things through. And when you start adding in Riptide, these guys hit fairly solid. And if you get them into melee, that's where they're super hurting the target. But they're just workhorses. These guys on the field, they have a very solid tree with a dash on 3, 3 damage and a shove off of 2, and they throw a crap ton of dice, and their defensive expertise is surprisingly good. For only rolling 4 dice, they are pretty hard to one-shot, and they are pretty good at taking plink damage. Clones do not like shooting into these guys. They're just workhorses. I'm telling you, give these guys a shot. They perform way better on the table than you think. And I think these guys are going to be the rock stars of Separatists going forward. They are worth the tax of taking Naserai. So right off the bat, one of the lists that we've come up to, and we're going to start with a regular just a strike team. So the cool thing about what this list does, where would you want to play Riff Tamson? It's going to be on Sabotage Showdown. On Sabotage, Riff is insanely good because everything gets focused down the sides of the board into lanes, which means stuff is starting to die a lot early on in Struggle 1. Stuff does go down, which means Riff Tamson is getting set up for the late game. Grievous allows for a really early punch. And having B2s and Aqua Droids both on the field, you're going to start doing a lot of damage, and the B2s are pretty tanky as well. And on Sabotage, Kraken is super valuable at being able to move either your supports or himself. The advantage to him compared to Kalani is that Kraken is more versatile. While you do give up the 1 attack dice, he is just tankier on a point himself with this protection steadfast. And in the late stage of the game, Kraken is just very, very good. Sabotage Showdown is where this list really shines. This list is also going to shine on shifting priorities. It's probably the 2 spots where I play it, but Riff on Sabotage is insanely strong. So with this box, Separatists are in a really unique spot where they can kind of finally play a premier list and have matchups that can go into multiple maps. They're not just relying on the I have to play on shifting or Sabotage to really work. So we're going to look at a premier list. We don't normally look at premier lists on Unit 101, but I wanted to go over this one for Separatist players in general. So there's 3 distinct pairings that you can take here, in my opinion. We got the classic Grievous with Luminara and all droids. This list is going to be good on shifting, on first contact, and never tell. That is where this list is going to super shine. It's going to do what it wants to do with the movement. Luminara is always super solid with Grievous. It's one of the stronger, if not the strongest, Separatist list still. Then we got, again, the Grievous with Riff Tamson on either shifting or Sabotage Showdown. And then where I would play Dooku. Dooku is with Riff Tamson, you play this pairing specifically on Sabotage Showdown. Dooku can take a side point with the Magna Guard and just be insanely hard to deal with. Jango Fett, being able to be moved by Naserai, means Jango Fett can get in range of stuff to really take advantage of those Aqua Dice, meaning he's going to get further down his tree. He can display stuff. This is probably the weakest part of the list, but it can definitely work on Sabotage. But there's 3 distinct pairings with this list, and it's you now finally can play a full Separatist premier list and not feel terrible. Riff Tamson is a piece that's going to need some reps. Get him on the table. He's not autopilot, but if you can figure out his play patterns and you start learning and how good the Aqua Droids are and learning what he does, it is a very potent list that can absolutely hit hard. And against a lot of mid-range lists, it's going to shine. Thank you for watching this episode of The Chosen One, a Star Wars Shatterpoint podcast. If you want to catch the next video, you can watch the one linked above, or you can just go and listen to the podcast on the playlist below. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for your support.